Takeoff's mother is publicly calling out his father, accusing him of trying to grab $26 million from an estate he had no hand in building. The bitter court fight tearing this family apart since the rapper's tragic passing is easily one of the most shocking stories in hip-hop. A mother who raised her boy entirely on her own through years of grinding before the fame and fortune now stands in a courtroom fighting off an absent father who only surfaced once there was a massive fortune on the line. Our newsroom has been tracking this case closely, and what we found is that the truth runs much deeper than the rumors trending on social media. The actual court filings, the claims, the history between these parents and their late son, it all ties together in ways people are completely missing. Today, you and I are going to unpack this whole situation, because the truth behind what this father is trying to pull, and how the mother is fighting back to protect that $26 million estate, is far more troubling than headlines suggest. Subscribe now, because you and I will map out realize exactly how this entire tragedy unfolded. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, drop a like as we dissect the culture's biggest stories, the real, unfiltered, and complex ones. The headlines cannot capture this. Today, our team is looking at Takeoff, his massive musical legacy, his multi-million-dollar wealth, and the family war that erupted over what he left behind. Let us analyze the details. We are diving into the life and legacy of Kirsnick Karibal, the icon the world knew as Takeoff, one-third of the legendary group Migos, and one of the absolute sharpest lyricists of his generation. He left a remarkable legacy and a massive fortune now targeted in a family feud that took everyone by surprise. Let us start at the absolute beginning, because the money makes zero sense without the context, and the history demands our attention to understand who this artist really was. He was born June 18, 1994, in Lawrenceville, Georgia, outside of Atlanta in Gwinnett County. He grew up alongside his uncle, Quavious Marshall, whom the rap community knows as Quavo, and his cousin, Kiari Cephas, famously known as Offset. These three relatives from the same tree grew up together, worked together, and shared the same dreams. Takeoff was raised mostly by his mother, Titania Davenport. You and I must remember this crucial detail, because the identity of who actually raised him, who stayed by his side when success was far from guaranteed, directly impacts today's explosive court battle. By middle school, the young artist was already showing an ear for rhythm and flows that set him apart from other kids. He was not the loudest in class, nor was he the most talkative, but when writing lyrics or writing a beat, he possessed an undeniable gift that everyone around him noticed immediately. In 2008, at just 14 years old, he, Quavo, and Offset launched a group they named the Polo Club. They were ambitious teenagers with high energy, performing with a raw style that was distinctly theirs. They changed their name to Migos in 2010, releasing their debut mixtape, Juke Season, in August of 2011. It was not an Everson 80 Everclay overnight triumph. No viral video handed them success. Instead, it took years of grinding out mixtapes, earning respect on the streets of Atlanta, and pushing forward even when major labels ignored them. The tipping point that finally caught national attention came in 2013 with their breakout single called Versace. That track, built on a heavy loop and featuring the signature triplet cadence that became the group's trademark, quickly caught Drake's ear. Drake hopped on the official remix, propelling the track from a regional street anthem into a global phenomenon. For listeners unfamiliar with the Atlanta hip-hop scene back then, Versace served as their introduction to a sound completely unlike anything on mainstream radio. That rapid, bouncing, staccato delivery, where words are packed into tight, rhythmic bursts, was not invented by Migos, but they mastered it, brought it mainstream, and turned it into the defining sound of modern rap music. Eventually, artists globally adopted this cadence, and music producers began crafting heavy beats specifically to fit it. It all traces back to three kids from Gwinnett County who defied every early expectation. Their first official album, Young Rich Nation, arrived in July of 2015. Then came the smash hit that redefined their careers. In January of 2017, Migos dropped Culture, debuting at #1 nationally. The massive lead single, Bad and Bougie, featured Lil Uzi Vert and secured the top spot on the Hot 100, 100%. It was everywhere, instantly becoming a massive cultural phenomenon. Meme to infinity, referenced on television, quoted by celebrities, and played at every single party in every city. Bad and Bougie went on to be certified 4 times platinum, becoming one of the most defining hip-hop records of that era. Their album Culture was followed by Culture 2 in January 2018 and Culture 3 in June 2021, cementing Migos as the most consistent, commercially dominant groups the music world had seen in years. But our team knows real fans always had a special appreciation for Takeoff. He was the quiet, understated anchor of the group, who rarely dominated press interviews, never courted cheap controversy, or made himself the center of attention outside the music. But on the actual records, Takeoff was frequently the one whose verses forced you to hit rewind. His technical precision, his impeccable timing, and his rare ability to lock down a flow with absolute consistency and creativity. These key qualities set him apart, even alongside 2 other genuinely talented artists. We often saw a running debate in hip-hop circles about Takeoff being the most slept-on member of Migos, despite being the most technically gifted. Takeoff himself was well aware of this dynamic. In an interview on the Drink Champs podcast, recorded just days before his tragic passing, he made a comment that haunts our community to this day. He wanted his flowers while he was still here, refusing to wait for people to celebrate him after he was gone. Those words hit differently now, leaving a heavy weight on the culture. Back in 2018, Takeoff proved his solo power by releasing his debut solo project, The Last Rocket, which debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and was praised by fans and critics as the ultimate proof of what he could achieve outside of the group's structure. He and Quavo later formed the duo Ank and F, showing our editors they had a massive runway. His trajectory was pointing straight up, with infinite promise. Then, on November 1st, 2022, at 810 Billiards in Houston, Texas, Takeoff was fatally shot. He was just 28 years old. We reported the breaking news out of Texas, where a beloved member of Migos was taken from us. Our newsroom confirmed that it was the 28-year-old star, Takeoff, who was targeted at a private gathering inside a bowling alley. As commentators, we analyzed the tragic footage from the scene as the incident unfolded. Reports indicated he suffered a catastrophic wound to his head, and in a devastating development, he was pronounced dead right there at the scene. The entire industry went silent. Peers from Drake to Ezier to Machine Gun Kelly shared their heartbreak. His memorial service at Atlanta State Farm Arena was packed to the brim with family, devastated fans, and collaborators who gathered to say a final farewell to an icon we were not ready to lose. A visionary who begged for his flowers while alive and deserved every last one. If you support our coverage, hit subscribe. Now, let's look at the financial assets, because this is where our editorial team sees the narrative take a dramatic turn right now. When he died, Takeoff possessed an estimated net worth of roughly $26 million. That massive figure has been heavily analyzed by our commentators and cited throughout the intense legal battles currently surrounding his estate. To truly understand how that fortune was generated and what it represents today, we have to look closely at how elite rap groups build generational wealth. Historically, the primary engine of revenue for Migos during their prime was live performances. From September 2017 to September 2018, they brought in $25 million, largely generated by a brutal schedule of 93 shows across 12 months. That run also featured the massive Aubrey and the Fire 3 Migos tour with Drake, which generated over $13 million across 54 dates. At this stage, according to Forbes, they commanded upwards of $150,000 per venue. When we analyze how they performed, nearly twice a week for a year, the numbers are dizzying. From September 2018 to September 2019, the collective earnings climbed to $36 million, $61 million combined in 2 years. Assuming an equal split, each member walked away with roughly $20 million over that short stretch. If you find this breakdown fascinating, drop a like. Then, there is digital streaming. Migos completely dominated global streaming platforms during their commercial peak. During that highly lucrative 2017 to 2018 era, they pulled in 4 billion streams. 4 billion. The per-play payouts on digital platforms are minuscule on an individual basis. But our editors know that when you pile up 4 billion streams in 12 months, passive royalties turn massive, hitting accounts every single month as long as fans press play. And they do. Bad and Bougie, T-Shirt, Walk It Talk It, Motorsport, Stir Fry. These. We know his voice lives on, as listeners stream massive tracks like Bad and Bougie, T-Shirt, Walk It Talk It, and Stir Fry. These tracks do not just vanish from streaming playlists. They are evergreen assets generating massive, continuous revenue. Plus, on top of tours and streaming, Migos generated major wealth through massive corporate partnerships and brand deals like Beats by Dre, Mountain Dew, Champ Sports, Finish Line, and Avian Jewelers. But after a massive structural shift, leaving 300 Entertainment in 2015 to work exclusively with Quality Control Music, their performance fees skyrocketed. Their nightly income jumped from $30,000 to $60,000, eventually reaching that incredible $150,000, reported by Forbes. Takeoff also launched a successful NFT collection that completely sold out 10,000 units in just 7 days. He was not merely collecting checks, he was building real generational wealth. But here is the reality that casual listeners fail to fully understand. This point is critical to grasping why this legal battle is so incredibly intense. You and I must realize his most valuable asset was not cash in a bank account. It is his vast music catalog, his share of those master recordings, his publishing rights, and his cut of all Migos hits, along with his solo music. These are assets that do not expire. Every time a Migos song streams worldwide, royalties are instantly generated. Every single time Bad and Bougie gets licensed for a movie, a commercial, or a popular video game, a substantial synchronization fee is paid to his estate. Every single radio play or club spin generates lucrative performance royalties. This stream of wealth does not just dry up when a creator passes on. In fact, tragically, payouts often skyrocket after an artist passes away, fueled by the inevitable massive spike in global streaming. That catalog is a massive financial engine designed to run for decades. Whoever controls the estate owns that engine, which is the exact reason for this high-stakes legal feud. Let us examine the details. We need to understand why this crisis exploded. When he tragically passed on November 1st, 2022, he died intestate. That is the legal term for dying without a will, leaving zero documentation outlining how his fortune should be divided, no named beneficiaries, and no executor chosen to run his affairs. At just 28 years old, with $26 million earned and a catalog value destined to grow, he left absolutely no roadmap for his empire. Because there was no legal instruction, the state of Georgia stepped in to apply its own default succession laws. By law, if an individual dies intestate without leaving behind a spouse or children, their entire estate automatically passes to their next of kin. For him, that means his biological parents, Titania Davenport, his biological father, Kenneth Ball. And this is precisely where this family drama gets incredibly complicated. Davenport, the devoted mother who raised him, took swift legal action regarding both the estate and his untimely passing. In June of 2023, she filed a wrongful death lawsuit targeting the owners of 810 Billiards and Bowling, the venue where the shooting occurred. The legal complaint alleged that management completely failed to provide sufficient security personnel for that gathering. It argued there were no entry screenings at the Prasen, doors, zero after-hours protocols, and absolutely no compliance with basic safety standards to protect the venue guests. Furthermore, the suit stated that the property owners were fully aware, or should have known, of major, violent incidents happening around that immediate area, yet failed to implement any reasonable preventive security measures. She sought more than $1 million in civil damages from the physical venue and its various associated corporate holding companies. On its own, this civil lawsuit was already an immense, emotionally heavy legal battle, marking a grieving mother's attempt to find justice against those she blamed for her son's death. But everything shifted when Kenneth Ball suddenly entered the legal arena, turning this into a highly public battle. Reports by major rap platforms like Gossip, Hip Hop DX, and Complex detail how his biological father formally moved to join the existing wrongful death action. He petitioned the court to act as a third-party intervener. For context, an intervener is an outside party who claims they have a direct personal interest in the case and demands to join the lawsuit. His attorneys put forward a major argument, asserting that he also suffered severe financial losses due to his son's passing. The legal team claimed that as the biological father, he sustained immense past and future monetary damages from this tragedy, including funeral costs, mental health therapy, loss of parental guidance, and the total loss of family support. He is reportedly pursuing at least $1 million in additional damages as well, matching the exact figure requested by the mother. You and I can see this is where the conflict truly ignites. This is the exact moment Takeoff's mother drew the line. From where we stand, and where most of hip-hop culture stands with her, this does not look like a grieving father seeking justice for his son. Instead, it looks like someone trying to cash in on a legacy he never helped build. A man reportedly missing during those grinding years of struggle, those long years when his mother, Titania Davenport, was single-handedly holding everything together. Now, he suddenly shows up in court with high-priced lawyers the exact moment that $26 million entered the picture. His mother is making sure the world sees exactly what she believes is going down. She is refusing to stay quiet or let corporate lawyers control the narrative. With public interest peaking, remember to hit like and subscribe. To those closest to the rapper, his father's actions have a name, and it is not grief. They call it opportunism. And Titania Davenport is fighting it with everything she has. And as we analyze the public fallout, this is why the culture is reacting so intensely. Reliable industry reports from The Source, Hip Hop Wired, and Madame Noir outlets our team has been tracking closely have all revealed very conflicting accounts about Kenneth Ball's actual day-to-day presence in his son's life during his early, grinding years. Based on several documented records, the young star was raised almost entirely by his single mother. In fact, reports show Takeoff himself admitted he was raised by his mom and their extended family, including Quavo's side, which acted as his primary support system growing up. Now, both sides are fiercely contesting exactly how active Ball was in his life before the fortune. If you want more updates, hit subscribe right now. This question of who stayed during the lean years is not just emotional, it is highly relevant in court to determine who inherits the massive legacy built back then. Under Georgia law, biology is what secures inheritance rights when there is no will. Typically, probate courts do not weigh emotional presence or financial support when they are deciding who qualifies as the next of kin. The law looks strictly at DNA, official paperwork, and statutory relationships, creating the ultimate moral struggle in this story. What feels morally right versus what the law allows are rarely the same thing. Titania Davenport raised her son. She was always there, sacrificing and investing in his future before anyone else cared. Yet, under Georgia's strict inheritance laws, Kenneth Ball's biological claim to this massive fortune remains valid, regardless of his past absence. The precise split of that $26 million estate and his massive music catalog has not been finalized. As commentators, we have confirmed both parents are locked in legal battles over these assets. The feud is incredibly messy, made worse by a bitter, long-term family rift. Determining who actually controls and profits from the artist's legacy remains an active legal war. Meanwhile, the bowling venue owners have rejected the wrongful death claims, with their defense team pushing to dismiss and shifting blame to the party guests instead of the venue. Before we zoom out, drop a like on this video. We need this broader perspective because what is happening with his wealth is not an isolated incident. It is part of a tragic pattern repeating across the music business for decades. Whenever a major superstar passes without a will, the financial fallout becomes highly messy, costly, and prolonged. Prince passed away in 2016 with no will, despite holding a multi-million-dollar fortune, and the court battles dragged on for several years, wasting massive amounts in legal fees. While his music catalog, Aretha Franklin passed in 2018 with no official will, leaving her family to spend years in litigation over random handwritten notes that may or may not count as final. Even Nipsey Hussle, a prominent advocate for financial literacy and building generational wealth, faced post-mortem legal complications in 2019, despite being highly prepared compared to other musicians in his lane. Our editorial view is that these disputes are almost inevitable when a young, successful star passes away unexpectedly without a secure trust protecting their assets. And the rap game specifically brings a level of financial chaos other businesses rarely face. When a major entrepreneur or business owner passes away, we see mostly fixed assets, equity, real estate, cash, accounts, investment portfolios. You can review them, value them, and divide them with relative ease. But when a musician dies, the most valuable assets are living, breathing cash flows that constantly bring in massive revenue and constantly shift in value based on cultural buzz, licensing, streaming trends, and market conditions. A music catalog is never just a static pile of cash. It is a dynamic, active business requiring constant management, legal oversight, and strategy. Someone has to approve sync deals. Someone has to decide on releasing unreleased tracks or collaborating with other artists on posthumous projects. These moves carry massive financial weight, requiring someone who has both the legal power and sharp judgment to manage it. That is why control of the estate, and not just a share of the cash, but the actual power to run the business, is so fiercely fought over. Because whoever sits in that seat does not just collect checks, they run the entire show. They make decisions that will shape how Takeoff's name and legacy are presented to the world for decades to come. And for Titania Davenport, who raised her son and watched him build this historic legacy, having anyone else sit in that seat, especially someone whose role in her son's life is highly disputed, is completely unacceptable to her. She is ready to fight. As we cover this, hit that subscribe button now to stay updated. In comment sections and across social media, fans are heavily leaning toward Titania Davenport, backing the mother who was always there. Commentators point out the deep pain of a father, reportedly absent during Takeoff's life, now stepping forward only because $26 million and a catalog are on the table. Others have pointed out more neutrally that, emotional ties aside, the cold, hard legal framework is what actually matters. And that is where this battle will be settled. Both sides make valid points here. The emotional truth and the strict legal reality are two very different things, and they do not always align. Let's look at what this situation highlights. Far beyond the drama of this specific family story is the critical need for estate planning when building real wealth. Takeoff was only 28 when he passed. At 28, most people are not sitting with lawyers discussing wills, trusts, and future beneficiary designations. But Takeoff was different. By his mid-20s, he had made more money than most people see in a lifetime. He owned a music catalog bringing in a continuous stream of income, along with publishing rights and heavy royalties. All of this required a secure legal home, a set of clear, legally binding instructions to govern his empire when he was no longer here to manage it. The absence of that legal documentation opened the floodgates for this massive court battle. Now, music industry attorneys and financial advisors are highly consistent in their professional advice on this. A basic will is simply not enough for artists at this elite level. What they need is a comprehensive estate plan. We're talking about trusts to manage continuous cash flows and clearly named beneficiaries for every asset, plus an administrator who truly knows the business. Leave a like if you agree on all accounts. The ultimate goal is to build an airtight legal shield around this wealth, strong enough to survive the artist's passing without triggering a toxic family war and litigation. Setting up that system takes time and money, but it costs far more in cash, endless hours, deep emotional trauma, and massive lawyer fees when that protection does not exist. And then the courts are forced to piece it together retroactively. Yet, through every single court filing and messy headline about this intense family battle, the music never stops playing. Bad and Bougie is still on top playlists. The Last Rocket keeps streaming. Takeoff's legendary verses on Migos records are still being quoted and celebrated by fans who loved him then and love him today. His legacy is untouched. His art is immortal. Whatever happens in those courtrooms cannot change the music, nor diminish what Takeoff created, his lasting impact on hip-hop culture. That is permanent. But the financial side of his legacy, the music catalog, the royalties, the publishing rights, and those massive ongoing income streams, that part is completely up in the air. How this gets resolved will determine who benefits from his work for the future. Classics will echo for decades. Now, we must watch to see if the devoted mother who raised and supported him as he rose to hip-hop royalty will finally be allowed to guide and safeguard that precious musical legacy, or if a cold legal process built solely on statutory definitions and biological ties produces an entirely different result. That is the true heavy weight of this entire story. This explains why the entire culture is watching so closely. We are not just tracking streaming numbers or reporting on the legal drama. At the absolute center of this tragic case is a young man who deserved far more praise and appreciation while he was alive, yet never received enough of it. His memory must now be fiercely protected and honored by the very people and corporate systems that claim to speak for him. As we follow this developing story, we want to hear from you. Who should have control of his precious estate and artistic legacy? Be sure to hit like and subscribe, drop your thoughts below, and click the video on screen for more stories like this ongoing coverage. We will see you in our next report.